And now, Season 2 of the REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show.
The REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show is brought to you by author and certified trainer Faye Hill's Master the Art of Giving, a guide to funding church projects with no debt. Order your copy on Amazon, Kindle, or faye-hill.com today.
Closer to my dreams.
Coming up on today's REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show.
Challenges are endless, so the one day that I told myself that I wanted to go back to a cubicle, yeah, it was today and yesterday and the day before that. But obviously I haven't gone back, right? So while there's that voice telling me, there's the other voice saying, I'm here because I can push through this.
Closer to my dreams.
She's the author of the highly sought-after goalie coaching system, who is passionate about helping seasoned entrepreneurs become unstuck in their thinking, abilities, and revenue. She's a coach, author, and speaker who has sharpened her ability to stretch the vision, mission, and goals of those strong enough to withstand the journey of entrepreneurship. As the founder and visionary of Collette Portis & Co., Collette Portis is a business coach with 20-plus years of experience helping clients think big, strategize for success, and increase revenue. Colette's mission is to change the lives of whole families because winning is the only option. This is the REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show.
Welcome to REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis. And today I have somebody special for you, techies. Oh my goodness. But I promise you, even if you're not a techie, you are probably going to learn something awesome and maybe even a little scary. He is the CEO of Master Computing. He has been heavily involved in technology since his father brought home the family's first computer. His first real job was in technology, and shortly thereafter, he started his own business because he went crazy soon, right? Computer repair was the original game, but as the landscape changed, Master Computing morphed into a cybersecurity firm. Never in his wildest dreams did he think that he would fight crime rings in Russia when he started his business. But that's where he finds himself today. Please welcome to the show the awesome Justin Shelly. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Collette. Thanks for having me.
Well, I am excited to have you on the show because, dude, you're super smart. Oh, my gosh. I like smart people. I really like smart people that go, not so much. But, but here's a bomb that I'm going to drop on you. So I love it. Justin, my audience doesn't know much about you. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
I started the business back in 1997, so I've been here for a while. Like you said, my dad brought home a computer. It was the Apple IIe. I was 12 years old at the time. My siblings, and there were a lot of us. I come from a big family, 9 kids. My siblings loved to play video games on this old computer. It was brand new, but old now. And I quickly learned to write code, to write programs. That was my love and my passion. So I was kind of odd from the get-go as far as technology goes. So that's the beginnings of it. I went to school for computer science. Well, so there's a different story, right? I had like 3 majors before I got to computer science.
Wow.
And my, maybe it was 4. I went from music to electrical engineering. And in electrical engineering, I had to take computer science 101. And my professor, after I'd written my first assignment, my first program for the class, he called me in. He's like, you got to switch your major. You need to be in computer science. So I did. I switched over to computer science, and here we are. I've been doing computers ever since.
Very interesting how you got there. That's what I love about this. Everybody's journey is different, but very interesting how you kind of just rolled over into it. And then your professor just gave you a little nudge and got you to where you needed to be.
You didn't have to push very hard. Like I said, I've been doing computers forever, but I didn't know that that's where my career would end up. It was just a hobby at the time.
That is awesome. So you struck out on your own after, would I be correct in assuming, like a lot of us think, my boss is just not the smartest person on the planet and I could probably do this better, so I'm just going to go do it myself. Is that how you got there?
Not really. I didn't have any problem with my boss as a person or his intelligence level or how he ran the business or anything else. I saw that, and this was, again, 1997, computer shops were almost a novelty back then. Today, we're a dime a dozen if you're just doing computers. You can't sell that today. But back then, I knew there was opportunity. And I also knew that he was billing me out at $85 an hour, and he was paying me $8.
Oh, wow.
This is when I was going to school for computer science. I started to think I was kind of smart. You said I was smart. Well, I learned over time that I wasn't, but at that point, I still thought I was smart. And I thought, well, if he can do this, charge $85 and pay me $8, very simple math tells me that I can make more money in less time if I work for myself. Now, Collette, I'm here to tell you I did not understand business math at that point in my life.
Yes.
That formula was very wrong. I worked way more hours and made way less per hour during that transition. So that was a very early lesson in business.
Absolutely. It's a jolting lesson.
Yes.
That as an entrepreneur, all of us learn. Everybody takes that step. There's no way around it. You can only get through that. So at the beginning of your journey as this new bright-eyed entrepreneur who was going to go make the $85 an hour as opposed to the $8, what did you think the journey would be like?
Well, like I said, I knew there was opportunity, and I remember thinking that because I had two jobs in computer repair before I struck out on my own. And I remember I just firmly believed that if I went out and worked harder, knocking doors, calling people on the phone, dropping flyers, I knew I could get business. And so in my mind, this would be a straight line, trajectory from where I was to the ultimate vision of owning, conquering the world. I set my visions high from day one. I wanted it all. And it was going to be an easy path. Not easy, but it was simple. I just knew I had to outwork people.
Outwork people. I like it. I don't know if people really think about that these days. I think there are, there's a select few of us that do, but I don't know that that's a popular idea.
Well, I can tell you it's an easier idea, or at least for me it was, when I was younger. I'm not so young anymore, and it's not as easy to outwork people these days as it was back when I had all that energy. So it started off being one of my strong points, and now I have to work at that. Like we were talking about before, sitting on a beach sounds great with a laptop. Pounding pavement and dialing phones, not so much. So that's one of the challenges as you get farther into the game.
Absolutely. So you talked a little bit, you kind of segued into it a little bit, but on your journey, who have you discovered throughout that time and that process up until now that you are?
You might have to give me a little time on this one. That's a story, right? So I've got to figure out where to even start with that. Like I said in the beginning, I saw this as a very straightforward process. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say I had a lot of emotional maturity at the time. With a few setbacks, I kind of fell into, and at various times throughout my life, I've fallen into a darker place where I wasn't sure there was a path forward, or I didn't know what that path forward looked like. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I was at, a low point to some extent, and it wasn't business related necessarily. It was just personal stuff. And I started exercising, trying to get in shape a little bit, and it was hard to run. In fact, my wife was the fitness person in our relationship, and we would go running together, and about 5 minutes into the run, I would literally collapse on the sidewalk, and she would continue on and then come back and pick me up on the way back to the house. So I couldn't run. And this combined with when I was younger, I ran track in high school, but I ran sprints. And I had coaches and peers who told me that if you run sprints, you have a specific muscle type. And if you run distance, you have a different muscle type, and you cannot cross over. So that was a belief system I grew up with. And as I started doing this running with my wife and being unable to do it, something just snapped in me. And I wanted to give a big FU to the world. I mean, it was coming from a place of pain and anger and whatever else. And so I started getting serious about running just to prove that what I had believed all my life was wrong. And, long story short, it's already kind of long, but I'm going to Chicago. I leave Friday to run my 5th marathon. So there's a, kind of where it started for me that, and I kind of forgot the question you asked, but what I've discovered maybe along the way, or who I was versus who I am. But yes, I had a very deep-rooted belief system that I could not be anything that I wasn't born to be. If it didn't come easily or naturally to me, I wouldn't even try. So this was the first time that I thought, you know what, I am going to take something that is hard for me and I'm going to beat it. And that is where I see myself as a person right now, is I look for problems. I look for challenges. I look for weaknesses in myself, and I go after them with a vengeance. And it hurts, and it's hard, and it keeps me up at night. But that is probably the thing that I am the most proud of as my journey as an entrepreneur has really been kind of intermingled with that other journey that was more of a personal, emotional thing.
Wow. So I think that is so absolutely significant to the entrepreneurial journey. Self-limiting beliefs. I will be speaking on this panel for 2019 women leaders in entrepreneurship or something like that. And one of the questions is, who do we think, or what do we think? What were we told early on that helped us to be who we are? And I thought about that question, and I thought about the fact that early on in 2nd grade, I was told that I can be whatever I want to be. And I've held on to that belief forever. At the same time, though, I still find that there are still some self-limiting beliefs that I have. And a lot of them are as a result of what I was taught by family and my culture and all of that stuff. And I think a lot of the lack of success, and I say that with air quotes because success, is determined by the individual, but the lack thereof is oftentimes based on the self-limiting belief. So kudos to you for...
It's a spiral too, right? Because I early on did believe I could accomplish anything. And then life taught me otherwise a few times, right? Where it doesn't turn out the way you think it is. And that's where my self-limiting beliefs began, was when things didn't work out the way I thought they would, or the way I thought they should. Maybe it was an entitlement problem. And so then, I kind of spiral into this. Well, maybe I can't do those things. And then that feeds on itself, right? Until you really are not doing things. Yeah. So it's a cycle. At least for me, it's been a cycle.
Well, I like the idea that maybe it is an entitlement issue, because one of the things that we know about our culture is that we have an entitlement culture. We believe that just because we thought of it, we should be able to do it.
Right.
And now, and I'll share one of the things that I've learned on my entrepreneurial journey is that if I didn't do it this time, I just need to pivot and keep doing it until it's done. You don't stop, you just pivot.
Absolutely.
But then if you don't learn that this is a pivotal point, right? Meaning you need to shift. If you don't learn that, then you will look at that and you will get caught in that spiral and you will go, oh, well, maybe I can't. The answer is always that you can.
You're so right. I'm chuckling because I'm looking at a folder on my desktop, my computer right now, that is titled Pivot.
Yes.
And it is filled with documents and notes. And, that was about a 1.5 year long search for me, as far as the business goes. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but yeah, you do. You have to realize that what you're doing needs to change and be willing to face that and make those changes.
And be okay with it, with the understanding that change brings on pain.
Yes.
It is going to happen. Don't fool yourself into believing that you will not feel some growing pains, because you will.
That's what running taught me, Collette, because as I ran and pushed through barriers over and over, went from a 5K to a 10K to a 20K to a half marathon, and then finally a marathon, every time I had to push through physical pain. But in my mind, I was talking myself through the self-limiting stuff, the emotional pain, just the willingness to experience it and not run away from pain, not run away from failure or problems or challenges.
Well, I want you to know that I am planning to run with you next year in the Chicago Marathon. And my business partners are like, well, we probably won't run, but can we walk? Like, we're all planning to be there. So you've now got a team that is going with you for this Chicago Marathon. What's significant about that is Chicago is one of my favorite cities. My son goes to school in Chicago. I'm excited because now I got a real reason why I should be going there. Since I think maybe I was in high school, I saw something on 60 Minutes about the Chicago Marathon. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I said to myself then, I want to run the Chicago Marathon. And then I meet Justin and he goes, I'm running the Chicago Marathon. I'm like, what? Totally happening. Right. But here's the thing. The Chicago Marathon is significant to me because it's one of those things that every time, even though I just sat here and said what I said to you about running the Chicago Marathon, my mind just said to me, you can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm speaking it.
Mm-hmm.
But my mind said I can't do it. Self-limiting beliefs. And so so here's a question. What would you suggest someone do to push past it?
Listen to them, believe them, talk back to them. And I say believe them because this is coming from somewhere. Mm-hmm. There is something down in there that's telling you that you can't do it. And you've got to get in and get honest and get serious and get curious about it before you're going to push past it. You can't ignore this stuff. And I hear so many people say, that if we just have a positive attitude, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a positive attitude. That's critical. Right. But you also have to have honesty about what are your limitations, what are your challenges, because if you're going to run a marathon in a year, it won't happen just by saying, I think I can.
Right.
It'll happen by saying, I think I can, and then getting your butt up, and hitting the road, right? So I think really one of and I kind of go contrary to popular opinion on this one, I think we have to listen to the negative stuff inside of us if we're going to really address it and push through it. Because first we have to embrace it. We have to be okay with the fact that we're flawed humans. I have to look in the mirror in the morning and realize that I don't have the body I had when I was 20 and just be okay with that. So I do. I think that's really the biggest, most important part of pushing through limiting beliefs is not being afraid of them.
I believe that. So part of my daily routine is to listen to an affirmation. It's what I do every morning at 7 a.m. That's awesome. I listen to it for an hour.
Oh, wow.
It's pre-recorded and I listen to it for an hour. And one of the things that said in that affirmation is that you should acknowledge, hear, and and respond to the negative thought.
There it is.
Because in your response, then your brain starts to tell you how to move past it. Oh, well, then I should do this. If that doesn't work, then I should do this.
Right.
Awesome. Good stuff, Justin. Good stuff. I'm excited about you running the marathon. I wish I could be there and cheer you on. And it's what day?
Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis and my guest, Justin Shelly. We will be right back.
Master the Art of Giving, a guide to funding church projects with no debt by author and certified trainer Faye Hill. A guidebook to assist churches struggling with raising money for projects. Faye Hill is a certified trainer that can conduct a workshop for your church. So order your copy today at Amazon.com or your Amazon Kindle, or go to faye-hill.com. Author and certified trainer Faye Hill's Master the Art of Giving, a guide to funding church projects with no debt. Order your copy now.
My guest, Justin Shelly. When we return, he's going to be talking about falling into darker places.
Closer to my dreams.
Hi, this is Tina E, and I'm inviting you to the Smooth Jazz Weekend radio show coming up this week, every Saturday and Sunday at 12 Eastern, 11 Central on tapthemikradio.com for only the best of me. That's every Saturday and Sunday at 12 Eastern, 11 Central for the Smooth Jazz Weekend radio show on tapthemikradio.com.
Indie jazz at its finest. Tina E's Smooth Jazz Weekends. This weekend on tapthemikradio.com.
This is REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis and my guest, Justin Shelly. So let me ask this. So what I know for sure is one day you were like, I have lost my mind. I am going back to the cubicle. I don't know what I am doing. I am poor and I am tired.
One day?
Right. That weekly paycheck sure sounds good today. Tell us about one of those times.
Oh, wow. So this morning, it's kind of what I've been talking about, that none of it's easy. There's no straight line to success. And as you put, you've got to define success first. But I would say, and maybe I'm overstating it, but almost daily, I think, what am I doing? This is hard. It's hard and it's lonely sometimes running a business, because everybody you work with, to some extent, they've got their eye on you.
Yes.
You don't have friends within your company as a business owner. You might think you do, but you don't. And then there's the constant rejection, because if you're selling stuff, you're getting told no way more than you're getting told yes. There's payroll, there's taxes, there's, so the challenges are endless. So the one day that I told myself that I wanted to go back to a cubicle, yeah, it was today and yesterday and the day before that. But obviously I haven't gone back, right? So while there's that voice telling me, there's the other voice saying, I'm here because I can push through this.
Yes.
And I want to push through it. My purpose in life, in business right now, really is to find challenges, find limiting beliefs, find those things, hit them head on and overcome them. That is where I get the most joy in my life.
And the other piece of that is there's no way we're going back to the cubicle.
There's that.
Yeah.
Let me tell a quick story. I did actually go back. Nothing's a straight line of success. I keep saying that. I got out of IT in 2003, went to flight school. I was going to be a commercial airline pilot. That didn't pan out, but I ended up flying air ambulance, fixed wing air ambulance for a couple years. It wasn't forever. I was an employee and I loved certain aspects of it. And I thought, man, this is easier. In some ways it's better, but somebody else owned my outcome. They owned my destiny. They owned my pay grade. And I remember my boss saying he was turning down patients, turning down clients. And, I'm sitting there scratching my head, wanting to hit him. I'm like, what are you doing? And his answer would be, I don't need the money. And internally, I'm just screaming at him like, yes, I'll take it. Make me work harder. I'll take that money. But I couldn't. I didn't have a voice. So you're right. No, I'm never going back there because I didn't have a voice. And let me just pigtail on that real quickly. That's one of the things I try really hard in my company to do is make sure my employees have a voice. I just got back in time for this interview right now from taking one of my technicians to lunch. And every quarter, every 3 months, I take them individually to lunch. Every Friday, I take the whole team out to lunch. Every Friday afternoon, we have a company-wide meeting, and I make sure everybody gets to have a voice. I'm not saying they run the show and they call the shots, but they definitely get heard.
Justin, you're making my heart beat out of my chest. That is one thing that I didn't really consider about having been an employee, but it is the absolute thing. The day that I decided I was done, it was that I realized that I did not have a voice. And it's the reason why so many of us are miserable. And it doesn't mean that you can't successfully be an employee and not love the company you work for. And you can, but more often than not, you're right that you don't have that voice. And then the other thing is, going back to self-limiting beliefs, there is no lack. Meaning, you had an employer that was turning down work because he was thinking, I don't need the money. And there's somebody out there right now who has a company, who's joined a bunch of us crazies and is starving and struggling because of the belief that that company has this customer and I want it. Right. And where I've gotten to in moving beyond my self-limiting belief is that for sure is there is enough out here for everybody to eat and everybody to eat well. And we'll be right back after this.
Need to build a new church? Build a new addition, wing, or youth center onto your church. Buy a church van, add a food pantry for the community, but you can't or don't want to get a loan, borrow money, or take on more debt? Solution. Certified trainer and author Faye Hill's Master the Art of Giving, a guide to funding church projects with no debt. Order your copy today at Amazon.com or your Amazon Kindle, or go to faye-hill.com. That's faye-hill.com.
You have been listening to REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis and my guest, Justin Shelly. So let me ask this. What do you know for absolute sure, Justin?
What do I know for absolute sure? Well, if it's specifically related to my business, it's what I've already said, that I absolutely know that cybercrime is a huge, I would say, the number one threat to business. I mean, I've watched it devastate people. I've watched it wipe out everything they've worked for. All this journey we're talking about of the entrepreneur, to go through all of that, to face all the challenges, to overcome it, and then to have some thug wipe it all out from under you. That's not a good day.
Now, that's a good way to present that, because I think often we don't think about it like that. We go... For instance, I was telling you about my son, who just randomly said to me last week, "Oh yeah, Mom, there was a mortgage on my credit." I'm like, "What?" I'm freaking out. I'm like, "We all know that you haven't even attempted to buy a house. So why is there this?" And I think we kind of treat it like that. Oh, well, it was that. I just called them. They got it off. It's cool. But it's like, no, it could be. It has the potential to be so much more than, oh, I just got this thing. But you feel like you realize you just got this thing, and this thing just completely ruined your life.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. You are such a wealth of knowledge. I always learn good stuff from you. So before we wrap up, if you could leave the new or aspiring entrepreneur with a word or a quote, what would it be?
Dig deep. That's what I tell you. Dig deep.
I like it. Yes, of course, Mr. Marathon Man would say that. Yes. So, Justin, this has been awesome. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, take us up on this free stuff we're giving away. Go to dfwsecurityseminars.com. That's the best thing I've got to offer people right now. If you need technology help or whatever, give us a call. But this is where I want everybody to start. Take the free stuff that we've got, use it, prove that we are who we say we are, and then we can talk about anything beyond that.
And I will say this, for our audiences, our listening audiences is an international audience. It's really worth you flying into town for. Now, it's not that long of an event, but I promise you, you will learn something. It's seriously that important and that informative. So I would encourage you to catch a bus, a plane, a train, rev up your bike, whatever, and get here, because it was so impactful for me that immediately I got home and created a video testimonial that I shared across my social media platforms, because it had that much impact on my life and what I do and what I do for my clients and what my clients do for the world. So thank you, Justin, for being on the show. Are you on social media at all?
Oh, yeah. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I don't spend a ton of time on Facebook. Let me add one thing. You're talking about out-of-towners. They don't have to come to me. If somebody, we're working on it, it's a little behind on the development, but if you register for a seminar, you're going to get a confirmation. Just reply back and say, hey, I'm out of town. Send me the webinar version. I'll do that.
Awesome.
Eventually, the website's going to change so that it's all on there, but we have a webinar version so people do not have to travel for this.
Awesome. I love it. Well, again, thank you, Justin, for coming to hang out with me. I always learn something. You are welcome. I'm excited that you're going to push me to run the Chicago Marathon next year. I'm elated about it. And to my listeners, listen, if you heard anything that you had a question about, you wanted to comment about, you wanted to reach out to Justin or I, please go to Tap the Mic Radio and submit your comment, or follow us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. Post your comments there. We would love to have an exchange with you and to hear what you got to say. And I want you to know that you are great. So be that, because it is what you owe to the world. This has been REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio with Collette Portis and the awesome Justin Shelly. Have a phenomenal day.
Next week on the REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show.
You have to do a people analyzer to determine what it is and who it is that you need. And then you hire based upon your need, not based upon, your want, or they interviewed well, or they need a job. No. What does your company need?
Until then, follow Collette on Instagram at Collette Portis and Tap the Mic Radio on Facebook. And don't forget to join the Goalie movement. Are you ready to grow your team, increase your revenue, and build your legacy? Let Goalie guide you to success. Order your Goalie bundle today at Amazon.com or ColettePortis.com. I'm Dorian J. This has been a Collette & Co. TMRN production.
The REAL-Eyez Destiny Radio Show is brought to you by author and certified trainer Faye Hill's Master the Art of Giving, a guide to funding church projects with no debt. Order your copy on Amazon, Kindle, or faye-hill.com today.